Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed Pop the Trunk Podcast Hall of Fame. Now Patreon sponsored Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I am, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Barrel Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trail, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Metro Kaiba, all of the above on that ISAT test and ACT. You know what it is. Here to bring you all my 16th rant of Big Brother 22 All-Stars, entitled It's a Trap, ladies and gentlemen, because I am completely ticked off about this week. Now, if you all are patrons, then you all saw my drunken rant on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Dare I might say I was drunken master, Pretty Boy Smitty. I was drunken master Recency Bias Radio. It was, and my patrons will tell you, it was one of the funniest and most memorable rants in my history of doing rants, ladies and gentlemen. And it's because it was unfiltered, it was honest, and at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I held no shots back. And make no mistake about it, this rant right here is not going to hold any shots back either. Because I need to put the culture on code. I need to put the culture on game. Because what I am seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is there's a lot of people who are part-time woke in this community. I have no choice but to be full-time woke. And because I'm full-time woke, in these moments, I am the person most people come to. Because I'm the person usually who talks with the most sense. And because of that, I'm not going to let you all down tonight, okay? Now, in this rant, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to discuss the feeds from the moment, essentially, that Christmas became HOH up until the veto competition ended today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I took just enough notes after the veto competition transpired to know all I need to know that Bayleigh and Davon are royally screwed. More specifically, Bayleigh is royally screwed. Now, we already know that there's tons of microaggressions that transpired before this week alone. We know the majority of that came through seeds that were planted from Danny. We know that Nicole benefited from those seeds. We know that Cody backed up those seeds by making Davon into his main target. But now it seems as if Cody's okay with Bayleigh going as well because he just don't want these black women to shine. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's like I said in a previous rant. If you claim to not be a racist, I need you to be against racist gameplay. And at the end of the day, everyone is too much of a coward to do so because read the room, ladies and gentlemen. There are 8 white people all ganging up like hyenas in Lion King around 4 black people. It's that simple. But the thing is, they're trying to convince Kevin to be their token buck dancer and come on over to their side to make it 9 versus 3. That's what they are attempting. The temptress. They are tempting Kevin with temptation to flip. And see, Kevin had an inclination that Bayleigh and Davon would be put up. He wasn't told specifically, but he had an inclination based solely off of the fact that Christmas refused to throw up David, and she already told Kevin he was safe, but she also told him before she made nominees, she also told him that he wouldn't like the nominations. So this clearly told Kevin what he needed to know to prep Davon for the fact that both of them were going up. And thank God Kevin did that much, because I'd argue Christmas's plan of getting Bayleigh and Davon to blow up to justify her racist gameplay. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, Christmas this week, she knew for almost 2 weeks now she was putting these two up. But she was nervous about it because she knew in the edit there was no justification for it. She knows Bayleigh has been working super hard to get close to her. Harder than she needed to, but at the end of the day, Bayleigh did it because she legitimately wanted to go to the end with Enzo, Davon, Tyler, these type of people. And we're going to get into Tyler's bitch ass. Yes, he completely betrayed these black people. The same guy walking around here talking about, oh, I learned my lesson from BB20. I really would like for people to stop judging me based off what I did that season. He's the same guy telling everyone Bayleigh's going to be exactly who she was last season. But he's also the same guy trying to pander to black people. And I'm going to let the cat out the bag right now. Him and Ian both are full of shit because both of them used black people. They used black fans just because they thought there would be some America's Vote twist that came. So they just wanted to act like allies for 20 seconds just to maybe pilfer some votes from the black players. That's what that was about. So the only time these people are even willing to be pro-black is if they have something to gain from it. So at the end of the day, that shows you the insincerity of this altogether. So before I get into these notes, before I get into breaking down feeds, I need it to be irrefutable all of the things that I have to say in this rant, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, this video is also going to be made public because I believe the culture needs to know what's going on here. The edit isn't going to show the truth. Hell, production through feeds, they're cutting off feeds every morning, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems like every morning there's a new fight. One fight happened between Danny and Bayleigh one morning. It seems that was Friday morning. This morning, it seems like Tyler started a fight with Bayleigh that also was kept off of feeds. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got Tyler butthurt because Bay and Day rightfully got screwed over by a trap he created for them because he wanted the women at each other instead of being after him. But he did it under the guise of wanting to be pro-black, when in all reality, he just did it so he could throw a few more people in front of him, which is game. But by utilizing and pandering to a black audience and the black players within the game to make this move possible, you are showing yourself to be the same racist I exposed you of being during BB20. Now I see why I was blocked by you and the mustache mistress. Because I called y'all out. Because I kept it a bean. Because I said the things about y'all nobody else is willing to say because they're all bitches themselves. People want to talk about how great and how elite Tyler is of a player. I was the first guy to bring up how he wouldn't have been that elite with all these twists. So do you understand how the timing of all of this isn't a coincidence? How he picked and chose when to betray Bay and Day around the same exact time when Tyler gets one of the BB basement powers? None of this is a coincidence. He's literally following the same exact story arc he did in BB20. The difference is his pregame alliance and strategy guide isn't driving this season, so he's got to be more careful. He was a lot more arrogant in that season because everything was handed to him. Now he actually has to play it legit, but he is being racially insensitive to play legit. And man, I want to get into the notes. I really do want to get into the notes, but I feel like I'm killing it right now with this freestyle. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, Tyler is completely full of crap. Ian is completely full of crap. Now I'm hearing, oh, Ian is having panic attacks. He wasn't able to compete in the veto this week. I don't give a fuck. I don't give that motherfucker no pity. Because he put Bay and Day, he put them in this position to be the main target. Now, granted, they were going to be the main targets anyway. I'm aware of that. But what I'm saying is, he's the one who put a battery in Kaser's back to do the speech, but he's the one who threw the HOH right after that to try to essentially light a fuse and walk away from the bomb. That was Ian. He got found out. Then he runs to Nicole crying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did. And Danny, she's guilt tripping him. Do you know I call you both twins because you both are like brother and sister? Nicole views you as her brother. How could you ever do her like this, Ian? And of course Ian feels like shit, because deep down he realizes I shouldn't even be in the game this long, because I just started playing last week. So here I am. And see, I was skeptical of Ian. I knew there was a chance he could be full of shit. So it's not like I was all in on Ian being back. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, for him to revert right back into crawling into his little shell and to be perfectly fine with these black people being targeted when he just tried to make it seem like he approached Kevin to try to get closer to Bay and Day. He tried to make it seem like he got close to Kaser to get closer to Bay and Day. He even sent Kaser on a mission to get closer to Bay and Day just for him to abandon them for Nicole all over again. So this not only shows that Ian was using Bay and Day to try to steal some of their Infinity Stones to get a twist from America's Vote, it also shows he was only close to Kaser for that same reason. See, these white folks think they slick. The only time they want to be around us is when they got something to gain from it. Black folks don't have that luxury within the game. Because if they stop being around you, you can change the narrative and say they're scheming on you, and everyone will believe you simply because there's a cultural disconnect. No one will give that black person the benefit of the doubt. No one will actually approach them and ask questions. Christmas right now is telling Bayleigh and Davon they're both on the block because Bayleigh told her that Davon was her ride or die number. You got Christmas coming out the woodwork trying to explain to Bayleigh and Davon you're both up because you're the one duo in this house that's concrete. Christmas, your fucking eyebrows perked up when you heard the damn megaphone. So you know Cody and Nicole is in fact a concrete final two. But you're too bitch made to target them, and you're too racist to go for them over the black folks. You know this is the move that will lead to the least amount of blood because everyone you're playing with would rather stay on code and target black folks. See, people can't act like they're just, oh, I'm just this good of a player. Race has nothing to do with it, bro. Yes, it does. Because I'm going to let the cat out the bag right now. Since Christmas has been HOH, she has already said she's nervous that someone will throw a spear at her head. We know that's racist because people from Africa are often comes loaded with other microaggressions that suggest we all have spears in our hands. Just because you're black, you know how to hunt with a spear. That's racist. Then she said she's worried she could get shot for doing this move. Oh, so now we got guns hidden within the damn house? Y'all the ones with all the help from production. If anyone gonna get a weapon snuck to them and shiv somebody, it's gonna be y'all white folks, not the black players. They ain't giving no leeway on this season. So much so, even when the whole world knows odds are stacked against the black folks, it still is an elimination knockout comp meant to incentivize the majority alliance benefits the most from it. Then we get a BB basement comp that is done in complete darkness. That way the majority alliance has a higher percentage chance of once again winning a crapshoot competition. So production refused to even give us an America's vote because they knew the black folks would get it because they're the underdogs, no question. So they decided, let's not do an America's vote this season because the black folks benefit from it. Instead, let's do the BB basement. Because these two sisters are not going to win that in the dark. All of these grown-ass men are going to throw them to the side. And see, that's another thing. Why did you have all of them do this competition virtually at the same time, production? Because you wanted to incentivize the majority alliance would help each other. You also wanted to incentivize, well, I wouldn't even say incentivize, because I brought this up during BB21. Actually, this is one of the only rants I ever did on that season. Do y'all remember how I brought up how it was predetermined for David to... Y'all see that ambulance? I'm talking that hot shit. I'm killing their reputation so bad y'all hear the ambo in the background. I don't know if y'all heard that, but that's how hard I'm going. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I brought up during BB21 how that competition was rigged against David 100% because Cliff Hogg, someone who is visually impaired by wearing glasses, how the hell does a guy who's middle-aged know how to move in the dark better than younger people who are less vision impaired? It just doesn't make sense. Cliff knew to walk up to an arrow, put his hand over it like he could read it like it's Braille, and he knew exactly where to go. Clearly, production wanted a guy like that to make it further, so I told everyone they clearly helped him win that. Now ask yourself, why are the three people who won this BB basement the three most polarizingly racist players this season? Christmas, Tyler, and Danny. Why are those three the ones that won? Because those are the three production loves. It's really simple. You know, now I know what you're saying. Well, Dave, you clearly think they love Cody and Nicole more. If they really were going to rig it 100% when they give it to those two, I think to a certain degree that's a little too obvious. And if Cody and Nicole, if these three who just won this, if they're just a whole bunch of followers doing what Cody and Nicole wants, then they'll get the blood on their hands for using those powers. Cody and Nicole won't, and that'll push Cody and Nicole further in the game anyway. So really, production still got what they wanted out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and debunk that theory before people even bring that up in my comment section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, but let's get into these notes because I'm going to explain through great detail why this is a very racist week. And I want to put all of you on code. And I'm going to give you all a lot of things that I picked up from feeds that we need to pay attention to, not only for Sunday's episode, because it sounds as if Bayleigh got into an argument and punched a wall. So now everyone is using this to say, she's unstable. They're using that to say that. So understand that, ladies and gentlemen. But see, what you got to ask yourself is, ladies and gentlemen, what drove a woman who was playing such a great social game to punch that wall? See, production, I expect them in the edit to not give Bayleigh any benefit of the doubt. They're going to act like there is no racial undertone of gameplay because they want people to believe there is no systemic racism post Black Lives Matter. So they're not going to show both sides of this coin. And that's why I am here to show you all the true side of the coin. They give you a biased, slanted side that helps them keep their sponsors. Me, I don't give a fuck about that type of stuff. I give a fuck about the truth being said. So, let's get it cracking. Around 9 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let me move a few things out the way. I want to make sure this is seamless. Now, around 9 p.m. on Thursday night, all four black players are discussing game together, but the problem is David and Kevin are completely lost on the game being played. But I think to a certain extent, Kevin is acting more stupid than he truly is. For this guy to have the balls to pick Cody and Nicole during the HOH competition, but to then act like he doesn't know why Bay and Day are pissed, makes no sense, Kevin. They are mad because Kevin selectively forgets he was the one who first brought the information from Ian to them. And now Bay and Day feel set up by Ian the most because Kaser's speech wouldn't have happened without Ian. So Ian pump faked like he wanted the smoke, only to throw the HOH comp. And now that Christmas is HOH, Ian has just been on an apology tour with Nicole, begging to have some more of her titty milk. So Bayleigh and Davon are forced to pay for the drama they didn't even want to entertain initially, while Ian gets to slither back into his little autistic hole and lay low all over again, despite the fact he actually tried to trigger a flip and failed at it. So black people can stay loyal and be perceived as less loyal than the white people who have already sold out their alliance like Danny and Ian. This is just more proof how racist this season is. This is unquestionable. I mean, you can't even question what I'm saying at this point. How the hell is Bay and Day being a guaranteed pair? How is that more threatening than Ian, who almost ruined Nicole's game, and Danny, who completely sold out the Slick Six alliance? Now, I get it. Christmas isn't in Slick Six. But she also is drinking Nicole's titty milk. So I'm looking at this from the perspective of, if you claim to want to protect these people, it seems like your only idea of protecting them is targeting the black people they don't like. And it seems like you want them to give you the permission to target the white people who did them wrong. So you don't need permission to target the black folks. You feel warranted, but you still want the justification to bait the black folks into being stereotypes of themselves. That way the edit can back you up as being the protagonist. See, I'm completely caught up with the game being played, and this is why a guy like me will never be put on a season like this. Because a guy like me, I'm not going to lose my emotions, right? I'm intelligent enough to realize this is the only game you can play with a guy as brilliant as me. You can't just outplay me. You can't just do that. You have to bait me into being an angry black man. The thing is, you can't do that because I will not tell you anything about my personal life that you can use to jab against me. I'll tell you some generic stuff, but I'm not going to dive any deeper into that because just in case I happen to play a reality TV show in the future that isn't Big Brother, because CBS are terrified of Hotep Thanos coming through and being the black Luka Doncic of Big Brother. They're terrified of that. They're terrified. They do not want a black man to essentially be what Luka Doncic is to the NBA, a unicorn. They don't want that, okay? And that's just the truth. Now, Bayleigh and Davon do deserve some blame for playing so sloppy on Wednesday night, but since we never saw what happened on Tuesday night, it's hard to know whether or not they felt more pressure to prove their loyalty or not. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Not only has there been confirmed clearly that there was a megaphone incident, I have reason to believe, based off context clues in the edit, that there was also a banner that flew over the backyard on Tuesday night, and I think that's why feeds were down the entire night, ladies and gentlemen. I think the banner occurred, because later on in these notes, I'm even going to mention the banner, and the thing is, Christmas even mentions the banner during this HOH week, so clearly that had to have happened recently, or else it wouldn't have been prevalent enough or pertinent enough for her to even use as part of the reasoning for her nominations. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Because when Bayleigh brings up how there are clearly other duos in the house, Christmas mentions the banner, but she makes it seem like the banner isn't concrete information, right? So if you have an outside source that shows you that you were wrong, they won't admit they were wrong because it's almost as if these people are paid actors and they're being paid to be stupid. That's what it looks like to me. It feels like they're being paid to be stupid and racist. Now let's continue. So, in theory, now that Ian has proven to be just another spineless rat coward, maybe Bayleigh made the right decision all along by being upfront with Enzo and Tyler. Because something tells me if she didn't do that, these white folks would have just used that against her as well, because they would have said she was keeping intel from them. And Ian most likely would have placed the blame on her and Kaser. But since she already told Enzo and Tyler about this prior, yes, that gave Tyler enough information to form the insurance policy with Ian in theory, and then Tyler proceeded to throw Bay and Day under the bus and substituted them for Ian for the same reason. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, when you really look at this, these black people are essentially just being used like props in a play. People don't even treat them like they're other players. They treat them like they are props. And that's the problem here, right? Christmas claims she wants to target weak people one day. Then because certain people don't deserve to be here, but then she wastes her safety suite on Ian because he's weak. She doesn't want Bayleigh to make the jury because she thinks she will make the jury bitter, but the jury's guaranteed to be bitter no matter what. No matter how you shake it, people are talking out of both sides of their mouth because they feel the guilt from being racist players. But since Bayleigh covered her tracks, it forced Ian to lie about Kaser mixing up his words. But nobody applies pressure on Ian as a group like they would a black player or a Muslim. And that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Kaser isn't here to defend himself. So Ian can just blame Kaser and say, I never said that. People will believe Ian because he's just this little white boy. And life goes on. And Ian can just proceed to act like super weak and shit. And people go, oh, yeah, he's truly weak. It's white privilege behind Ian being able to make such a huge mistake and not be targeted for it as a returning champion. Ian should have a smaller margin for error as a champion, but he's getting the most rope here to hang himself with. And Danny, of all people, is convincing Nicole not to get revenge on Ian now because technically his whiff of a move exposed Bay and Day sooner. So Danny is showing her hate for these two black women exceeds her need to have a fair game by splitting up Nicole and Cody, which also confirms Danny has to be part of Nicole and Cody's pregame deal. Exposed. Now, around 7:52 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, Danny essentially used this moment to guilt trip Ian into believing he's a bad human being for betraying Nicole. Tyler is also helping Danny to put out Ian's fires out of necessity to protect the insurance policy alliance. So Ian has two white people working hard to protect him as these same white people give no effort to protect the black folks. This shows the systemic issue with this show. People act like black folks are never worth risking your game to protect. But that stems from the players believing subconsciously that black players don't matter, let alone black lives. Danny says if she had it her way, she would blame everything on Ian to mend fences with Bay and Day temporarily. Both of these witches agree one of Bay or Day must go next, but they would prefer it's Bayleigh. Soon after that, Christmas tells Cody she's worried about throwing up Bay and Day because spears will be thrown at her head. On Friday, she took this even further by saying targeting them could get her shot. So Christmas is now showing her true colors, and now she is comfortable with the world knowing she's a racist simply because she has HOH. Her mention of spears was racist in itself because the stereotype of Africans involves spears. Then when you add her mentioning being shot, the microaggressions are unnecessarily bad. But people can't say I didn't warn them about these white women a long time ago. I was the first person this season to say this. And people said, oh, you're race baiting, Dave. But each week that goes by, they're like, oh, this motherfucker Negro dumbass. I tried to tell y'all. I can see what's gonna happen weeks ahead because I'm that good. I don't have no cheat sheet. I don't have no spoilers. This ain't the challenge where the season's already filmed. That's why I clearly look like the best at breaking this down when everything is happening live in front of us. This is what separates me. This is how my name got to where it was, coach. Because I can read the room better than just about anybody. And that's why they don't want a black man protecting black women on a show like this who has a brain like mine. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. Real talk, it's too dangerous, bro. So, but people can't say I didn't warn them about these women a long time ago. And nobody should be shocked. And nobody should be shocked about Tyler's behavior either here. All these players I've been well documented in exposing years ago before it was trendy to do. Let's be honest. Cody leaves his meeting with Christmas and Danny comes in right after. Of course, Danny is super happy. Danny then uses this moment to throw Memphis under the bus because he picked Danny during the HOH comp. So now Danny is planting seeds for Memphis to become a backdoor option just in case Bay and Day both win a twist. Christmas says she's happy Memphis hasn't won HOH because he would have targeted weak people. So what makes Bay and Day so strong? If the philosophy is targeting big players, why is Christmas not trying to target the secret alliance she heard in the call from the wall? Because she's a damn bigot. Based on the conversation between Christmas and Danny, there must have been some sort of banner that flew over the house recently which caused a lockdown. I think this was on Tuesday night when feeds were down. I think production made fans pay by making us miss out, on damn near an entire day of feeds because they know we're trying to make the game better, but production isn't. It's funny, we're better at doing y'all jobs than y'all are, fly on the wall. But y'all keep doing everything y'all can to make it a snooze fest again. It's really bizarre. I've never seen someone go out of their way to hurt their own ratings as often as y'all have. I mean, like real talk, if this was basketball, I would accuse y'all of point shaving in this bitch. Because it feel like y'all ain't trying to win no championship. Now, Christmas and Danny agree Ian was terrible at throwing the comp. Then they mention how Nicole damn near tackled Christmas to celebrate the HOH win. Did y'all notice that? Now, if Nicole would never come after Davon, and if Nicole just wants to repay Davon for changing her life by rewarding her with $500K, which led her to getting a man who was gold digging off of her, why would Nicole be so happy for Davon to lose that comp? Exposed. Nicole can say she would have done the same thing for Davon if she had won HOH, but the world knows the truth. Her racist ass was happy there wasn't a black HOH this week. Let's just keep it a bean. Especially when you take into account this is the first HOH comp after the situation with the call from the wall. Nicole felt that pressure. Let's just keep it a bean. Now, speaking of Rat Cole, she talks to Davon. Now Nicole is trying to make Dave feel bad about losing more by telling her she blames her for Kevin picking her versus Cody. How Kevin looked at Dave to decide who to pick first. But that clearly didn't happen. Then Davon mentions how Cody and Danny targeted her. She asks Nicole why they did that, and of course Nicole says she has no idea. But you notice how Nicole never mentions how Kevin said he was sketched out by everything and that's why he chose them to? She omits that completely from this conversation because she wants to get information from Davon and she wants to guilt trip Davon into actually believing she put herself in this position, that it's not racist gameplay all around. Understand, all of these white players know how to be on code. And this is why Black America, we need to settle our fucking differences and be on code more often with each other. Because you see how quickly they jump on code with each other? They cannot know two things about each other. Walk into the game, all of a sudden, they got a Final 8 deal. Black folks, it could be 4 black people on the same season, and we still can't get a solid 4-person alliance to even be named in 4 weeks. Now, a lot of that is because Tyler invited David to Hilton Head before the season to start some pregame bullshit because Tyler's a bitch. He can't win the game legit. A lot of this is because Kevin came into this game actually thinking he was close to Cody and Danny when he really ain't. You know, he's closer to Enzo and Christmas right now than he'll ever be close to those two. And then you got Davon, who came into this game actually thinking that she was actually cool with some folks when she really wasn't shit. She wasn't really thought of that highly by these people. Clearly, because they threw you up next to Bayleigh, who's their real target. And clearly they did that because they were worried you would win veto and take Bayleigh off. But once again, if Davon has never won anything, why are y'all so worried she could all of a sudden be clutch when she wasn't clutch on Thursday? It's like they expect black people to all of a sudden show up and have Wakandan armor. And RIP to the brother Chadwick. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's as if they treat us like we're superhuman, knowing damn well in this game, the game itself is the black kryptonite. Let's just be honest. They treat us like we're superhuman, but they know that this game is inherently racist and there's never been a black person that has been superhuman. And yet they still act like it's possible for us to be superhuman as they stay on code and be racist towards us. Like, what are you talking about? In a fair game where y'all weren't playing races, yeah, maybe we could be superhuman. But not this season. But they're using that to justify the racist gameplay. But let's continue. So Nicole wants Day to be stupid enough to believe she would have hugged her the same way, but she's also saying she was suspicious of Davon based off recent gameplay. So why would she hug her then if she questioned her then? If Nicole is, so why would she hug her then if she questioned her then? Nicole is talking out of both sides of her mouth here, and she's full of shit. If a black person ran up and hugged a black person like that after they won HOH, there would be no excuse that would fly. But Nicole's privilege allows her to have racist behavior be swept under the rug, even when a banner and a megaphone should have ruined her game already. White people have 9 lives in this damn game. It's not even about being good at the game anymore. It's just about being white. That's what the game's about. And this is why I wanted all black alumni to not play this season. If y'all remember, before this season started, this is before I started the Patreon and stuff like that, I told people specifically, if I'm Bayleigh, if I'm Davon, if I'm any black player with any clout, I am boycotting this season to send a message that is not good enough for black players. But I also believed that they would convince these people to come back and tell them things are going to change. It's going to be an all-star season. We're going to make sure you guys are taken well care of. Don't worry. Black Lives Matter protests. We need you all here because we need you all to show everyone that everything is good. So just like the white players are using the black players to pander to the black audience, production used the black players to pander to the black audience. So do you see what's going on here? This is an all-around con game. It's an all-around con game. Look, if this was a company selling a specific product, we could have a class action lawsuit here. Because what they promised us isn't what they gave us. And we're out here spending money on feeds to watch racist shit. Why else do you think whenever we try to cancel CBS All Access, they're like, hey, you could get the next 2 months half off, bro. Hey, you could get the next month free. It's because they are desperate to keep subscriptions. After Janelle left, tons of people stopped watching. After Kaser left, tons of people stopped watching. After Bayleigh leaves, ladies and gentlemen, I think they're going to lose a third of their viewership. When you count Janelle, Kaser, and Bayleigh back to back to back, those 3 fan bases combined are huge. And since production has shown us in years past that they can rig some shit for white folks when they want to, yes, we were expecting some sort of karma to come back our way. Yes, we were expecting a rubber band effect for them to prove that this game isn't systemically racist, for them to prove they are allies of black people, for them to prove they truly are with the pro-black movement by at least making sure these 2 sisters made jury. At the minimum, that's all we expected. We didn't ask for more than that. But these people actually tried to plan it out so the 1 week right before jury, they decide Bayleigh gotta go because we know how she'll vote. Y'all ain't been around enough black people to know shit from shit, but you're so certain on who Bayleigh is. Ladies and gentlemen, these are assumptions based off bigotry. And that's just the truth. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a game anymore. That's just the truth, man. You know, everything I've said for the last 3 years is coming to fruition. When feeds were off, there was some argument between Nicole and Bayleigh where Bayleigh straight up told her that all of these white players are ruining real-life friendships outside the game by playing this way. I hope it's worth it to y'all, because only one of y'all gonna win the game. The rest of y'all motherfuckers gonna be just like them BB22 castmates and little group chats saying all this slick shit. Then all of a sudden when it get exposed, oh man, I told him to chill out though, y'all. You gonna be looking like them. You gonna be looking like Nicole A. My friend Mickey. You look like you drunk off of fucking Mickey for acting like you still rock with that motherfucker. You're tone deaf and you're stupid. Read the room, Nicole A. Read the room, Nick Macaroni. Read the room. I mean, these people are goofies. They're goofballs. Now, I wish I could have saw this conversation on feeds for myself because these white people don't realize how hard black Twitter will go on their ass once this season is over. Ladies and gentlemen, if they thought they got a little bit of heat last time, all of them gonna have revolutionary, post-apocalyptic smoke at their front door. They just don't know it. This is way more serious than they think it is. But the fact that these people decided Bay and Day shouldn't make jury together, they are not only asking for this show's ratings to bomb, they are asking for this show to die forever. So let's give them their wish. After this season, I say all black people jump on code and never watch this shit again. Let's see how many years it lasts. I guarantee you all, without the black folks bringing some juice to this community on social media, Facebook, Twitter, the whole nine, this community will die because white people will eat each other because they don't have us to shit on. If you don't have a common enemy, you don't have a common ally. Let them eat themselves the same way they eat themselves at the end of these shows. Let's see how long the show lasts then. Then they'll be begging us to come to support them, begging us to come watch the same way they beg Bay and Day to give this show some fucking credibility by being on Allstars. Hey guys, can you please do us a favor and come on our season? Because everyone thinks we're racist and we're trying to rebrand ourselves. You use these people. You use these black people as a political tool. You should be ashamed of yourself, CBS Viacom. Now, Kevin whispers to himself in the bathroom that Bay and Day need to chill out. But Kevin doesn't understand nor recognize the racial cues of what's going on here. Keep in mind, Bayleigh has mentioned this. Kevin, the majority of his life, was very privileged because no one thought he was black. And Kevin even mentioned that to Bayleigh and Davon within the game. He said, yeah, I benefited a lot in life from people not thinking I was a black man when I really was. So understand, Kevin, this man is married to a white man. He is not going to be the guy who catches these subtle microaggressions immediately because he doesn't identify as someone that's perceived to be black. So naturally, when some slick shit is said, he doesn't think that involves him. He thinks he's the special one. You see that? And I want to drive this point home because even though I'm clearly a light-skinned brother, never in my fucking life have I gone out of my way to show people I'm better than you just because I'm lighter than you. Kevin subconsciously did that to these sisters, and Bayleigh remembers that. And for that reason, I think that's why Bayleigh never really trusted Kevin during this season. I think it's all starting to add up more. I think she started to see the self-hate within. But anyway, and since Kevin is closer to Christmas, he doesn't see she isn't that close to Bay or Day yet. Since Kevin was assured he's safe, it's almost like he's content with taking the week off. But when Kevin was on the block last week, Bay and Day didn't abandon him and just coast. They motivated him to go win the veto. Now Kevin has to do the same thing for them. Enzo speaks to Christmas around midnight. Christmas says her targets will spark an emotional reaction. No duh. But the fact that you're aware of the emotional reaction that it will spark, and the fact that you premeditatedly went about doing this, and you wanted the reaction to justify your decision to appear less racist, it actually shows your decision was more racist than just being blatantly racist. It's like I always say, the sneaky racist is way more dangerous than the blatant racist. Always and forever. Because that's the person that's going to get drunk with you at a party and stick a carrot up your ass on the fraternity side of the game, all right? I ain't trying to just shit on every fraternity ever made, but I'm just saying in general, all right, you got to watch yourself around these people who are fake allies. And that's why I laugh at people who want to start these other channels with non-black people, then get confused when they ain't pro-black all the time. Well, maybe your bitch ass should have been more of an alpha male to start your own platform, then you wouldn't have to rely on a co-host to be pro-black more. Ding! Huh? But that's what you get, dumbass. But anyway, Enzo doesn't even give a fuck about keeping Bayleigh off the block because he thinks she'll be dumb enough to work with him after this. But Bayleigh is perfectly fine with falling on her sword for Davon because she don't need this shit. In fact, Bayleigh told Davon if she were to win veto, she's taking Davon off and she's perfectly fine going. Bayleigh at this point, she don't even want to make jury because she don't want to be forced to be around none of these motherfuckers in that jury house. Her life is better than whatever jury house they're going to give them to live in. And see, that's why all these people can't stand her. Christmas is saying she's so entitled. No, you're just not used to a rich black woman with black pride. You're not used to that. You're used to the women you saw on BB19. And no disrespect to Dominique, but clearly Christmas didn't like her either. But Dominique was also a black woman that was cultured. Okay? A black woman of substance. A black woman you can't just put in one box, call her ghetto. A black woman you can't just put in one box and call her sassy. She was intelligent. She was quick-witted. And there's a difference between being intelligent and quick-witted. Some people are smart but socially awkward and can't come up with what to say in the moment. She had both of those things going for her. They still wore blackface to get her up out that damn house. All right? So let's stop the bullshit here, okay? So this is proof Christmas is inherently racist, and she takes it personal when you are a black woman of substance and some means. She wants to cut you down to make herself feel better as a white woman who isn't of as many means as she could be. Now, I'm aware Christmas got bread. I'm aware of that. She's a personal trainer. She does this. She does that. She's a grifter without the bam. I called her Christmas Rousey for a reason. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, understand, you've never experienced the highest level of racism until you're around someone white who's more poor than you. Then you see a different level of hate right there. Because in their mind, they're like, how the heck did this black person figure out the game before me when the game is rigged for me to figure out before them? It creates animosity. Now you get why Christmas has it out for Bayleigh, despite the fact Bayleigh has been working 2 weeks straight to get closer to her. Now you see it. So make no mistake about it. This has nothing to do with how close she is to Davon. That means nothing. That does nothing. That's just an excuse for television. The truth is, I don't like the fact that you and your husband are more well off than me and my husband that I settled for, because let's be real here, Christmas really wanted to be with Paul Beta-Hamian. Anyone who watched BB19, we know the truth. Christmas did a lot of flirting with Kevin Schluber, but at the end of the day, she was in love with Paul. 100%. This isn't a lie. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, whatever man got her pregnant, that wasn't the one she wanted, busting all kinds. It was Paul. And Paul friend-zoned her dumb ass. And that's just the truth, you know. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, what I want y'all to understand is these folks are trying to make Bayleigh be irritated. They're trying to make Bayleigh lose herself in the moment. They're trying to make Bayleigh be the stereotypical version of what they view her as anyway. She refuses to take that bait. And her not taking that bait makes them despise her more. So all signs point to Bayleigh leaving this week over Davon. Now let's get into Friday's feeds, ladies and gentlemen. From 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., feeds were down for the BB Basement Comp. Rumors suggest Tyler, Christmas, and Danny have these powers. We'll find out for sure on Sunday. Danny on camera camera 4 is trying to convince Nicole why they need to throw Tyler under the bus. Davon comes upstairs and the witches ask her about Bayleigh. Davon tells them Bayleigh almost self-evicted due to anxiety. And this is something that also happened during Challenge 35, so I'm willing to believe it. It's also rumored that Ian almost self-evicted due to anxiety as well. But once again, Ian created that anxiety for himself. These black people are being targeted in a racist way, and they're dealing with anxiety because it is sparking PTSD they have dealt with their whole fucking life. And they came on this show to help CBS Viacom rebrand themselves as being as having inclusion and having equality for black people, just to be put through the same fucking ringer Bayleigh dealt with in BB20. This was not worth it for her. And this is why she is done with reality TV in a nutshell, because it ain't worth it. You risk your branding every day you're on these reality TV shows, and for what? Just to represent your people? No disrespect, but representing your people ain't good enough, especially when these producers, these cameramen, do everything in their power to make sure you hold your people back by becoming the stereotypical example of what they have to be to take their spot on that show when they're done. So I 100% support Bayleigh and Davon for their reasoning for not being on reality TV no more. Because nobody deserves this type of fucking treatment. Nobody deserves this type of stress. And quite frankly, those two sisters specifically don't need this. And this is why David was chosen. They picked a guy who needs this. Someone who would do nothing, would do anything to be in Hollywood. He needs this. That's why he was chosen. Because he's the one guy Bay and Day can never depend on realistically. So by production picking this cast, they picked this cast to put Bay and Day through a week like this before the season was even aired. And if they prepped for this to go this way while those protests were happening, and they're trying to convince us All-Stars only happened because of the protests, doesn't that show you how real racist CBS is? Danny on camera 4 is trying to convince Nicole why they need to throw Tyler under the bus. Davon comes upstairs and the witches ask her about Bayleigh. Day tells them Bayleigh almost self-evicted due to anxiety. Nicole mentions how Ian low-key wants to leave as well, but Ian is a bitch because he ain't dealing with none of the crap the black players are, and his soft ass still can't hack it. Davon tries to hash shit out with Danny and Nicole. She says let's put all their problems between them on a table and move forward. She mentions all the shit Danny said about them being too comfortable around Enzo, and of course Danny denies it like a coward. Then Tyler and Christmas interrupts them both. Then Tyler and Christmas interrupts them both to talk about the drama in the house. Christmas asks Tyler if Bayleigh is going to cut her if she... Hold on, let me put my phone on airplane mode, man. People is hitting me up, man, and all this stuff, man. I'm in the zen, coach. Let me be. But anyway, Christmas asks Tyler if Bayleigh's going to cut her if she put her on the block. More microaggressions here. Tyler is trying to twist this as if Bayleigh can't handle it when things don't go her way. But Tyler was the one who manipulated the women into fighting with each other. For him to say Bayleigh can't handle this is bullshit because he's the one who caused this drama for Bayleigh. Now Tyler is saying Bayleigh will drag him into this, but Tyler was the one who dragged Bayleigh and Davon into this first last week. What the hell is he talking about? He's full of shit, and he's proving to be the same dickhead from BB20. It's clear Tyler is nervous about Nicole and Danny talking to Davon to compare notes here, and that's why he interrupted them in the HOH room to talk to Christmas there. Alright? Then Christmas's dumbass tells Tyler she has a secret power called the Blocker, where she can stop a backdoor from happening. Doesn't this sound a lot like the hacker twist all over again? It sounds like some bullshit just to guarantee Tyler makes it past the middle game again. Because why is Christmas sharing this with Tyler first? Like, what are we doing? See, this tells me they have some pregame deal that was supposed to be worked on with Josh and KC, but since Josh and KC wasn't there, Christmas decided to pivot, work with the white women first, and then after gaining some ground, now she's back to where she originally wanted to be next to Tyler. See, I'm figuring this out. Now, anyway, not only that, if she wins veto, she can keep two people safe with the Blocker. So all these white folks... So all these white folks just keep getting more perks as the black players who actually need powers get nothing. Sounds a lot like the American way. So even if Day, Danny, and Nicole orchestrate some sort of backdoor of Tyler, I think Christmas is dumb enough to waste her power on lifeguard Jesus. And we don't even know the power Tyler has himself. So this is just the hacker twist all over again. Christmas is All-Stars Angela, protecting Tyler at every turn. So imagine having powerful twists at your disposal and being too scared to take a shot at Cody. That's Christmas and Tyler. That's them, you know? That just further shows how bitch-made Christmas is. Christmas tells Tyler she will put up Bayleigh and Davon. Sounds like Christmas wants Bayleigh up, but not Day. Now even Tyler is saying Bayleigh can't make jury because she cost him $500K the time before. So this proves Tyler hasn't changed and everything he said about wanting to work his way back in black people's good graces was all bullshit. Enzo talks to Kevin and says he won't get involved. Kevin also says he will be Switzerland this week. So Kevin is essentially abandoning these women from a moral support standpoint when they need him the most, which further shows the difference between a gay black man being on code, under pressure, versus a straight black man. Sisters, I hope y'all taking notes here. Around 1:30 p.m. on camera 2, Davon compares notes with Danny and Nicole. Dave mentions how even Cody wasn't completely against Danny being targeted. How Tyler every morning was gaslighting Bay and Day into targeting Danny. Davon tells both of these witches about how Tyler claims to want to right his wrongs from BB20, but he clearly is trying to do Bayleigh the same way he did her before. I'm glad more people are saying this and keeping it real. Davon tells Danny and Nicole it might not be the right time for Bayleigh to know Tyler ain't shit, but it will be devastating for her to be done like this again by Tyler. But I told y'all during my Challenge 35 rants, Bayleigh would be in this very same situation if she played All-Stars, didn't I? Didn't I tell y'all she would come into this season trusting Tyler and he would do her the same exact dirty way? I told y'all that, you know? I'm worried Danny will try to plant seeds for Bayleigh to argue with Tyler so Bay can be a stereotype and so Tyler's game can be ruined at the same time. And now that we know for sure that Saturday morning started off with Tyler arguing with Bayleigh, seems like Danny got her way there, didn't it? I'm worried Davon told Danny too much here, because if Bay already is having panic attacks, things can get much worse. Davon tries to drive the feminist card home with both Danny and Nicole, but neither of these two care about Davon realistically. They just would prefer Day stays over Bay, so they don't mind comparing notes right now. And since they do prefer for Bay to go, odds are this conversation will lead to tons of drama. All three women agree Tyler is probably nervous because they're discussing game together. Now Nicole should know Tyler isn't as loyal as she originally thought Thursday night. So kudos to Davon here for at least hitting Tyler with his own medicine. If the white women can blame Ian for this, the black women have that same very right to then blame Tyler just the same. Now, around 2:22 p.m., Davon tells Kevin there is a chance Tyler could be backdoored. This is worrisome for me because Kevin claims he will be Switzerland, but I think it's very likely he could rat on Day in the future to save his own neck. Day tells Kevin about how Christmas said she wants Day winning an HOH this season. So even though Day wasn't promised she wouldn't go up, she still is skeptical regardless. Kevin tells her in his spirit he thinks Bay and Day are going up, and he even reveals Christmas wants Kevin to be the one to put out the fire when she makes a racist move. So isn't that even more racist? You want the gay black guy to be the one to calm down the black women when you put them up for no reason. Kevin tells Day that Tyler is working for Cody and they both are working with Christmas to screw them over. So at least Kevin gave Day the heads up. Christmas even has a Kevin believing Bayleigh is acting a fool in the house. But here's the thing. Production didn't show us what happened downstairs before or after the BB basement comp. So whatever fight that transpired, they didn't want us to know so they can heavily edit it to make Bayleigh look bad on Sunday's episode. So this is something we really have to pay attention to tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. If Bay is being categorized as acting a fool wrongfully, or if she truly did lose it for no reason, something tells me someone white said some slick shit to her. And all things point to Danny giving her a weird look, which made Bayleigh go crazy. The nomination ceremony happens from 4 p.m. to 4:40 p.m. Bayleigh is in the HOH room talking to Christmas. I can tell she is trying to keep it cool, but deep down she knows these are some racist piece of shit people. Christmas tells her she hopes she kicks ass in the veto. Clearly, she is sounding just like Angela did during BB20. Remember, Angela was like, Bayleigh, I would love for nothing more than for you to be the first black woman to ever win Big Brother. 1 week later, Bayleigh sent out the door because of an Angela HOH. We saw that. She's really taken a page out of her book. Like, if I didn't know better, Christmas was in Hilton Head hanging out with her, learning how to cook her food. I don't know. But anyway. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is crazy to me. Christmas, so at the end of the day, Christmas tells her she hopes she kicks ass in the veto. What's next? Is Christmas going to hope Bayleigh becomes the first black winner too? Get the fuck out of here with that pandering shit. Bay asks Christmas if she threw up Bay and Day because they were close. Christmas lies and says if she had said she was close to Ian, it would be her up next to Ian. Now, why would Christmas throw up Ian when she protected him with Safety Suite 2 weeks ago? You know you done fucked up, right? Okay? She's not making any damn sense here, ladies and gentlemen. If anything, she's proving how personal this move truly is with Bay to suggest she would throw up anyone Bayleigh is close to, even if it wasn't Davon. I think that was her just trying to say this wasn't a racist move, because if you were close to someone white, you'd be up next to them. But by saying this isn't personal, but by also saying whoever you're close to would go up next to you, you're saying it's personal. See, she's stupid. Because the truth is, if Bayleigh would have told her number one was Cody, she wouldn't throw up Cody. She wouldn't. Because even after figuring out Cody was working with Nicole due to the megaphone and probably due to a banner, she still didn't make them guilty by association. So it's interesting. If a black person tries to get closer to you by telling you some true information that is game related, people try to hit you up with the, oh, well, you were too late to tell me that, so I don't trust you. But if you say nothing, then they go, well, You've never tried to extend the olive branch. You never communicate with me. So Bayleigh and Davon were going to get hit with a song and dance bullshit excuse whether they tried to include Christmas a week ago and what their plans were or not. And you know Bay and Day are sincere because they legitimately wanted a women's alliance to steamroll this game. So when they tell Christmas, we were trying to get you to work with us, they're serious. But Christmas is too comfortable working with men. And this is why I told y'all something's got to give. Even though she's close to Nicole and Danny, she has this affinity with wanting approval from men. And I think that's because she's a real manly woman. She's giving me Abby from Last of Us 2 vibes in this motherfucker. Let's keep it a bean. But anyway, just peep the difference in how she speaks to Day versus Bay here. With Bayleigh, there was tons of distance between them, no real game reasoning behind why she targeted her, and a lot of grandstanding. When Day walks in after Bayleigh leaves the HOH room, Christmas tries to change the narrative that even though Bayleigh hasn't won anything, she could win something. How is that more threatening than Cody having a ride or die and him winning comps already? That doesn't make any sense, y'all. And here's the thing. If you're really trying to win a game for the first time, wouldn't you want a bunch of people who've never experienced the late game to be against you because they won't know how to handle that pressure? Why are all these players prioritizing working with people who made the end? So you want it to be as hard as possible at the end? That doesn't make sense unless you all are paid actors to make sure someone else wins. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Because strategically, this move does not make sense if you have a plan to win yourself. It doesn't make sense. Especially if you have a twist in your pocket and you did this move anyway. Come on, man. Come on, man. And see see this whole thought process behind, oh, I can just tell Bayleigh's gonna win something eventually. Well, which one is it? Enzo is saying you gotta win something for us to include you because you gotta earn your way in. But now you're saying because she hasn't won something, but she could win something later, she's gotta go. But if she's going to win something and she wants to work with you, wouldn't she earn her way in by winning it? Do you see the mixed signals being thrown? Come on, y'all. Bayleigh's not a dumb girl. The only way this could make her this pissed is if she acknowledges it in her head. This doesn't make sense. And these racist fucks are looking for alibis to sweep under the rug the racist gameplay. Like, bruh, we know each other outside this game. Why y'all even resorting to all of this? Just keep it a bean. My life is fine. As Lil Wayne once said in a mixtape, I have a very nice home. Remember when he said that in Dedication 4? I have a very nice home. You feel it, dig me, coach? Like she has a very nice home. She doesn't mind not making jury. But what she doesn't like is the fuck shit going on. And that's what I don't like. So even though I'll point out Bayleigh made a mistake here and there, she didn't deserve this treatment. Even if I bring up Davon making a mistake here and there, she didn't deserve this treatment. This is malicious. This is vicious. I was going to rhyme again and say suspicious, but I was going to drink anyway off the first rhyme. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, man, y'all really got to peep game of what's going on here. And I think y'all are peeping it. But this is the proper type of therapy I believe the black community within the Big Brother community needs. I feel like I am like a psychologist, not only to make more white people who could be ignorant but want to understand more, but I feel like I'm also the therapist to help black people get over this PTSD. You know, I tried to avoid feeds. 2K21 just dropped. I would rather just play the game than watch feeds. But I know I gotta watch this because I am the only person who can truly make sense out of what doesn't make sense. So I would love nothing more than to give up on this season. But the culture needs me. And that's why I'm here, you know? So at the end of the day, coach, no matter how you shake this up, this is bigoted, hypocritical argument of convenience gameplay. Just say what it is, Christmas. Davon then asks the 500K question. How is Bay and Day more of a threat as a duo than the others? Then Christmas says, well, the others aren't confirmed. Yes, they are. I guess if you're white, you can unconfirm what's confirmed by flipping a switch somehow. I don't know. I guess if I just hit this light, oh, that's the white gameplay. Oh, it never happened. Hit the light again. Oh, Men in Black, you just lost your memory. That's what they hitting us with, coach. Get the fuck up out of here with that bullshit. If only Day knew that this same woman in Christmas thought she would be attacked with a spear or shot with a gun after throwing them up. I highly doubt even this bullshit would work. And did you all notice how when Bayleigh came in the room, Christmas was on some sober shit, feeding her a lot of bullshit. Soon as Davon came in the room, all of a sudden Christmas wanted to grab a blanket, sit across from her, grab some alcohol, help her drink with her. And then she let Davon take the can of alcohol downstairs and share it with Bayleigh. I think Christmas did that because she wanted both of them tipsy so they'd be easier to blow up. Man, I'm peeping little things that most people don't even notice. Peeping little things most people don't even notice. You feel me? But yeah, so at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, she's full of crap. So yeah, so I highly doubt even this bullshit would work if Davon knew the truth here. But it still didn't work because Davon talked to Bayleigh later and she said, yeah, Christmas ain't shit. But anyway, in my opinion, production owes it to the black players to publicly shame Christmas for saying all of these toxic things. But they won't do it because they want black people being stereotypes. Because at the end of the day, their majority demographic are casual fans that like this shit. They like minstrel comedy. Davon mentions the women are dwindling down. Christmas claims she hates it. But if she doesn't like it, why didn't her Abby from The Last of Us 2 looking ass throw up some men this week? I mean, what are we doing here, Christmas? The women are truly dwindling down, girl. Christmas be like, I know, I hate that. Bitch, you got power to do something about it. What you mean you hate that? Oh, you hate black women more than you hate that. Oh, we get you now. I mean, no matter how you do it, I can flip this on you. You know, you're better off shutting the fuck up, Christmas. Because I'm finna have a supercut exposing your racist ass. You keep this up. Keep cooking. I'ma stir the pot on your goof ass. But anyway, then she says she isn't mad if one of them win veto and make her job harder. If it wouldn't make you mad if one of them won veto, why'd you throw them up then, you goofy bitch? She's not making any sense. What is you bruh, hey, if you think these two are this stupid, they shouldn't be your targets, yo. Cause the arguments you come up with, you must think these two sisters are dumb. You must. Cause no one would. I don't even think David would buy this bullshit from your mouth. This chick admitted out loud that Danny tried to get her out by working with Jacer during week 1. So how did Christmas magically forget that detail as soon as she won HOH? She talked about that last week like 4 or 5 times, didn't she? Why is Kaser being used to justify throwing up Bay and Dave, but Kaser is no longer linked to Danny, who tried to keep him over David last week? See, these are the questions that need to be answered. And why did Christmas run to grab liquor before having her talk with Davon? Do these black women scare her bulky, bear-built ass this much? Nobody would be this scared of black women unless they have no black friends. Davon didn't give her what she wanted. She wasn't aggressive. She was actually nice, and she even told her, we wanted to work with you. She didn't give her what she wanted. Bayleigh didn't give her what she wanted either. All these white people seem to have their balloon popped when black people aren't easily manipulated into cooning it up for TV time. When we actually prove to not be who they claim we are, they hate us more for it. That's Christmas Rousey. And that's Cody, that's Danny, that's Nicole. That's all of these motherfuckers. You know? Real talk. Around 5:08 p.m., Day compares notes with Bayleigh. They both agree Christmas is full of crap, and they both agree this is Christmas doing what Nicole wants. They even mention how Christmas said, why are you two comforting me? I should be comforting you in this moment. So clearly, both women know Christmas wants them to be the angry black woman stereotype to justify her HOH decision. But now that she isn't getting that validation, she knows she looks like the true bully here, and that's why she's saying, I should be the one comforting. Shut the fuck up. You should be the one targeting who we all need out. When it came down to Kaser and Janelle, oh yeah, they gotta go. They gotta go. They gotta go. When it come to Cody, though, it's like everyone and they mama swore they life. I'll never betray you. I promise. Davon tells Bayleigh she was ready to fight because of how someone went off on her. Right now, it seems like it was a guy who made Bayleigh almost blow up this morning. I'm thinking this had to have been Tyler who went off on Bayleigh. Both ladies agree Tyler is still butthurt about Bayleigh choosing Swaggy over Tyler. Boy, that's some good tea, but I'll drip this wine. I'll drink it. If you remember BB20, you know Tyler was butthurt. He was super butthurt. And that's why he started making Caitlyn feel like she was special, because he needed that rebound crush to dick ride him because he couldn't get with Bayleigh. But a guy like you, who doesn't care about black lives, you don't deserve the finest of our women. You don't. So we're happy you're with the mustache mistress. Stay over that way. And even Davon admits this clearly stems from him having a crush on Bayleigh at some point. So Davon, she's reading the tea leaves too. Like this is something that really irks Tyler's soul, yo. You can tell. This motherfucker, remember how I brought up that video? Remember on Twitter way back when Casey won the game and Tyler tried to make it seem like he was so happy for her, and I was like, oh, he's salty. He's super salty. And remember when Swaggy proposed to Bayleigh and Tyler tried to look like he was happy for them? He was salty about that shit too. And just like Tyler rebounded with Caitlyn, soon as Swaggy showed that their relationship, him and Bayleigh, were super serious, Tyler all of a sudden want to move in with Angela. All of that shit is for his own psyche to feel like he's not a beta male when he is. But let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of the day, both ladies agree that Tyler is butthurt about Bayleigh choosing Chris over him, and Tyler is defensive because they realize he put them into this trap. So Tyler is trying to dismiss Bayleigh as just being who she was in BB20, while also trying to say he's different from who he was in BB20. Isn't that convenient? Davon tells Bayleigh about how she convinced Nicole and Danny that Tyler was behind everything, not even Ian. So now all four women know what Tyler has been up to. Davon then reveals to Bayleigh that multiple people wanted her backdoored, so clearly they know Cody, Tyler, and Christmas were in on it, but they don't know Nicole and Danny along with Memphis were as well. So Nicole and Danny sold out the committee to Davon after she gave them the intel they needed not to trust Tyler. It was an information swap at the highest level. Davon and Bayleigh both agree Cody is an asshole. They did so much for his game to protect him, and they have nothing to show for it now. But peep game how Nicole came to interrupt their conversation, and it took her damn near an hour after Bayleigh got thrown up on the block to give her a hug. Those actions from Nicole just further shows she wants Bayleigh sent home before Davon. But then Bay mentions how all the white folks in the house can say whatever they want with no repercussions, but Bay and Day can't even be themselves in the game. Then Davon tells Bayleigh about how Christmas wanted Kevin to calm down the drama in the house before noms were made. So now they both know Christmas wanted them angry, but luckily they didn't give her what she wanted. Both of them clown Christmas because now she will look like a total shit show on TV. That remains to be seen because I think production will do nothing but back up Christmas's perspective. I have a feeling they're going to try to make Bayleigh look crazy. But we'll be ready. We're going to shut some shit down, CBS. I dare y'all to do that shit. Watch what happens. And it's also clear to me both women believe the three twists were rigged against them by not making them up to America's vote. So clearly production doesn't want the underdogs to clap back at all this season, further showing they picked that HOH comp to also screw over the black players because only the black players are the underdogs now. Like I said, it's 8 white folks versus 4 black folks. You're going to see some people on social media trying to make it seem like Ian is on the bottom too. Oh, it's really 5 versus 7, Dave. No, it's not. Ian's little flaky ass is begging to be included at the cool kids' lunch table all over again with a fucking Lunchable in his hand. Let's keep it a bean right now. All right? Let's stop the lies. And let's stop giving selective sympathy to only Ian. The same people that can feel bad for him, they never feel bad for racism. Let's continue. Now read the room. It's 8 white people targeting 4 black people. Ian and Tyler, under the guise of trying to flip the game to pander for an America's twist, managed to do the complete opposite by making sure the other 6 white people came for the black people before them. And since there is no America's twist, now Ian and Tyler see no reason to pander to the black audience or the black players. Do you see how they used us here? Do y'all notice this? We have been used. Do you understand how evil you have to be in your core to take advantage of racial dynamics to appeal to black people for votes? Just to cast us aside after you get what you wanted? Tyler and Ian went about this shit like they running for president in this motherfucker. Can we keep it a bean? This was some political shit they tried to pull, yo. And people say, leave politics out of the game. Leave race out of the game. And then you got these same people defending Ian, acting like they feel sorry for him after this motherfucker tried to use politics to pander the black audience to vote for him for a twist that should have went to the black people when he didn't give a fuck about the black people anyway. He was just doing that to try to get some of that rub off. to be invited to the cookout. Man, if you don't get the fuck away from my damn grill, let's keep it a bean out here, coach. Let's keep it a bean. I don't like this selective shit, bruh. It's almost as if Tyler and Ian are Joe Biden or some shit. And I'd argue all that fake pro-black shit was them using these black players as props to get what they wanted, just like Biden is currently using Kamala Harris for the same thing. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to wake up. All right? The narcissism it takes to be this conniving towards black people while also claiming to want to earn black people's support and respect, I find to be just as racist as what Christmas said about spears and guns. It's the idea that black lives don't matter inside and outside this game that truly pisses fans off while watching these feeds. And once again, we ain't asking for no handouts or special treatment. We're asking that someone racist isn't rewarded with prize money like they always are. CBS Viacom can't say they are against systemic racism, but then make racists rich every fucking summer. Bang! Motherfuckers want to talk about, oh, we're against systemic racism, we're pro-black, we're allies of black people everywhere, but every fucking summer there's another racist with $500,000 in their wallet. See, I'm bringing that smoke right now for y'all, man. I hope y'all appreciate this, man. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and share it, man. We finna blow the roof off this motherfucker. Y'all worried about megaphones and banners. We can send some different shit towards your way. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all better be careful, coach. We can ruin this game way worse than it's already been ruined, all right? They can't arrest everybody. If motherfuckers showed up in a group of 200 outside that damn backyard and just started shouting the same thing all at the same time, what the hell production gonna do? Nothing. And that's what I'm saying. If y'all not careful, if y'all disrespect one of these black women during this week or disrespect both of them, we coming for that ass. Imagine an entire house of white people banking on making you blow up to convince the world they aren't racist. You're just emotional. Imagine week to week protecting these same white people and gaining no ground with them because they kept you from a pre-game strategy guide so you never could gain ground. Imagine these same people claiming to want to be allies to black people as they try to also do everything in their power to keep the couple black people who deserve to make jury from actually making jury. Now imagine them doing all of that, then being more mad when you aren't mad. That's Big Brother 22 All-Stars, ladies and gentlemen. Cody speaks to Nicole in the storage room and he appears to be quite happy with the way things are going. He tells Nicole he doesn't mind the spotlight and blame being placed on Tyler because he hurt their games by telling Bay and Day so much about Danny. Around 9:35 p.m., Bayleigh is 100% convinced, Tyler wants revenge from BB20. And see, this is why I said Swaggy was dumb for tweeting Angela's cookbook and all that other shit. Angela thinks black people have ghetto complexions. There's no way Tyler or her ever were going to have Bayleigh's back. And that's why I thought he was stupid for showing her love before the season. Because she ain't got no control over what Tyler does once them doors are closed. So what you being so fucking nice for? And I'm willing to bet once Bayleigh comes back home, you ain't gonna see Swaggy tweeting Angela that nice shit no more. So what was it for? Okay? Tyler just needed Bayleigh after Casey didn't show up. And now that he has that power, he no longer needs her for anything. Just like he no longer needed Bay after he got handed powers in BB20. Tyler is following the same playbook that lost him the game, but he's too racist to realize it. Now let's get into Saturday's feeds, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have much to put here, but at the end of the day, I gotta tell y'all what happened. Production woke everyone up super early, around 7 a.m. for no reason at the time. They even cut feeds for 50 minutes to make sure everyone got up before resuming them. It made most believe the veto comp will be done earlier in the morning. Then feeds go down around 1 p.m., and feeds return after the veto competition has been played, and Davon is crying in the HOH room. Apparently, she went out first in a comp Bayleigh needed her to win for them to both to have any chance of staying. And to go ahead and let the cat out the bag now, Davon allegedly had a false start in whatever veto comp this was. So on Wednesday night's episode, it will be very important for all of us to watch very closely to see if that false start was legit or if they rigged that shit. All right? Christmas has won POV, and Davon has won $5,000. Enzo talks to Cody and says the move this week might be to backdoor Tyler. Cody mentions how if Danny feels crossed, it will become a problem. So Danny told Cody that Bayleigh blamed them Well, wait. Oh, okay, my bad. So Danny told Cody that Bayleigh blamed the get Danny out plan on Cody and Enzo. So now Cody is done with Danny, Bayleigh, and Davon as of Saturday. Then Memphis walks in the room and he's confused because allegedly, but once again, I want to drive the point home. I think Cody is lying about being done with Danny. I think this is something he said in front of Enzo and Memphis just to appease them. Then Memphis walks in the room and he's confused because allegedly during the veto comp, Christmas pulled Tyler to the side before deciding if she wanted to actually win it. So now the men are sketched out. Christmas might be closer to Tyler than they thought, especially since right now they're trying to place tons of blame on Tyler. That's like a red flag for them. Also, Memphis noticed how Kevin didn't even want the veto. He was just watching what the women were talking about the whole time. Sounds like the men are scared Christmas could backdoor one of them, but she's too bigoted to make such a good move. Facts, you know? Cody says Bayleigh approached Christmas before the comp and whispered in her ear. Then Christmas denied what was said and went to Danny during the comp. Then Danny came to Davon. So now it makes sense why all the men are nervous post-veto comp. They think all the women are keeping them out of what's going on this week. It also appears Ian didn't compete for veto today because he may have had a panic attack as well. This game is so damn messy. Davon talks to the three men, and then she goes to talk to Christmas. Christmas tells her to pull it together as she cries. She tells Davon she believes they can work together and run circles around the men. So Christmas only sees the value in her if Bayleigh isn't around. You see that? Why is she saying this now with two women on the block now? You see what I'm saying? Like, why now that it's guaranteed that Bayleigh's going home, why all of a sudden is, let's go after the men next week, though, girl. Get it together. Bitch, backdoor one of these niggas right now. She ain't gonna do that. But anyway, you see what I'm saying, though. You see what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, I don't understand why she's saying this if she's not willing to target the men right now. Yeah. Why are you willing to allow every man that played on this season to all make jury? That's what it looks like it's going to be, y'all. It looks like every guy this season will be in the jury, but half of the women on this cast won't. How does a woman expect to win this game with all men voting? If Nicole beat Paul because the jury was made up of women who decided to be feminists, why do they expect the men to not vote for a man to win when it's 8 guys in the jury? And by getting rid of Bayleigh before the jury phase, you're guaranteeing the men are the kingmakers of the jury. You're guaranteeing the men determine who win. Now, maybe in Christmas' mind, the men will appreciate her game more because she's more of a guy the way she plays. And because she decided to take out a woman during her first HOH week over a guy. But Christmas, if you're sitting at the end next to any dude, you're not winning the game. You could be sitting next to Ian at the end. I still think Ian wins. And that's because your dumbass was too stupid to go to the end with him. I think if any guy's at the end, they're winning this shit. Because you women were too stupid and too catty to realize during the first HOH week where a woman has power, y'all still wanted a woman gone. Meanwhile, every time a guy wins power, a woman goes. And you still trust every single guy more than you trust these sisters. Now, to be fair, these sisters trusted these same men that kept sending women home too. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. But at the end of the day, those women trusted those men because they felt like they were in the strong alliance with them. It wasn't as if they were just following them blindly, right? I feel like to an extent, certain players like Kevin and David follow things blindly, but Bay and Day weren't following blindly. They were coasting a bit, which I wasn't happy with. They were abandoning Kaser at the wrong moments and not listening to him, which I wasn't happy with. They made a lot of mistakes that put them in this position, which I'm not happy with. But at the same time, they did not deserve the treatment they are getting. It's one thing to send someone out with class. It's a whole nother thing to act classy when you're classless. Bayleigh congratulates Christmas on winning the veto. Christmas says she doesn't want her to give a pitch to stay. So clearly she doesn't want Bayleigh to stay. Is that clear? Apparently Davon had a false start that costed her a chance at veto, which led to her being eliminated first. It will be very important for us to see how this happened on a Wednesday, because this seems like something that could have been rigged against her. Then feeds cut for 5 minutes right after, as if production doesn't want us knowing about the false start's existence, or what Bayleigh and Davon or what Bayleigh and Christmas discussed. This only made me more suspicious. But it really pisses me off how often Christmas mentions praying and religion all of a sudden now that she's targeting two black women. You know, she's still relying on stereotypes and she's still being real subtly catty and relying on microaggressions to assume these two black women's only language is godlike. You know, if you truly believe these women are so close to God, why are you villainizing them in your HOH week? If they're so close to God, if you're praying so much, then why are you trying to use prayer to backstab them in a more subtle way? Do y'all understand the symbolism in this? Do you understand how Europeans came to Africa with their Christianity shit, took our minds off the prize, got us involved with a lot of moist shit, really infected the people of Africa to live more of a European lifestyle? We stopped bathing ourselves more often. I mean, do I really got to take y'all down memory lane real quick? Understand, Christmas relying on religion right now to pander to these two women is no different than Tyler and Ian pandering to the black audience for votes to win a twist. It's the same exact thing. It's just a different variation of it. And this is what people do when they feel guilty about being who they are. And these people feel guilty. But you know what? At least you have a choice to be who you are. These black women don't have a choice. They have to constantly censor who they are to make you feel more safe around them because you don't have the confidence to be better than them and be yourself while they're themselves. And that's really the true problem here. And until we fix this problem, this show is going to die, and it deserves to die. That's just the truth here. It deserves to die. This is the electrocutioner's chair, essentially. You feel me? This is the last hurrah for y'all. BBUS, this is y'all last chance, and y'all are going out. Y'all just flaming out right now. Y'all are flaming out. You know? But yeah, so at the end of the day, not only that, Christmas is lying to Bayleigh, trying to play down how close she is to Tyler. It's clear to Bayleigh Christmas is telling Tyler stuff because he mean mugged her earlier in the day, but Tyler would never mean mug a black man like that, further showing how much of a baby back bitch he is. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been my feeds update. Christmas has won power of veto. Nominations will stay the same. The men are a little nervous that she could pull off a good move and backdoor one of them. But with this BB basement twist going around, with Tyler not telling Christmas he has one of the powers, Christmas will assume one of the guys that are nervous has the power, and that will keep her from backdooring anyone out of fear. I 100% believe that. Even with the blocker, I think she will be too scared to do anything against the grain. She has more than enough blood on her hands now. She's full of crap. And at the end of the day, she's relying on bigotry to get the job done this week. And she's just another attack dog for Nicole and Danny. But in her mind, she thinks this is going to get her to the late game phase, when in reality, this is going to get Nicole to the late game phase, not you. In my opinion, no. And if Davon does win the next HOH, she has more than enough game reasoning to come straight for you, Christmas. And see, this is another reason why these women are stupid. You're disincentivizing more women to target more women, which leads to less women in the jury, which gives more women less of a chance to win the game. So what are we doing here? And that's why I think this is all rigged from the start, ladies and gentlemen, because it definitely was rigged from the start against black folks. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 16th rant of Big Brother 22 All-Stars entitled It's a Trap. I tried to do my best to put you all on game with how this was in fact a trap. Not only for Bayleigh and Davon to get screwed over, but for Ian and Tyler to try to gain some random cultural appropriation welfare America's twist votes. Okay, all that stuff is going on. They did all of that just to do that, and Tyler still was gifted a twist, allegedly, in the BB basement comp. So it just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, when you fuck up, and if you're white, you will always be rewarded even if you mess up. Let's be real, Dan's funeral isn't possible for any person of color to pull off. And the more and more seasons we watch, the more we realize that even the great players of yesteryear, are they that good, or were they just white? And that's what I'm going to leave y'all with, ladies and gentlemen. So if you could, please do not forget to like this video, comment underneath it, and share it with all the people, all the BB22 All-Stars fans that you rock with. But if you know someone is clearly not an ally, don't even bother sharing it with them, because they're not gonna hear this. They're not gonna hear it out. They're gonna be closed-minded towards it. This video is for the people who actually want to be educated, who actually want to understand our perspective, and actually want to be allies. We welcome you. But for the people who are closed-minded towards this and could care less, we could care less about you. We're trying to improve this product for everyone involved so it doesn't get discontinued in a year. The people who claim to like this show, obviously you don't like it that much because you're okay with it being canceled in the near future. And I'm just going to leave y'all with that, Coach. So, unfortunately, we came a long way without you, my friend. But I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. It's tough, but looks like Bayleigh's game is done, man. She played a great game. She played, in Davon's opinion, the best social game she's ever seen up close. And I concur that Bayleigh's social game was so good that they had to justify playing races to get her out the house. And that's the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed yourself here. With me, of course, I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And please do not forget, if you would like more content such as this, please do not hesitate to become an RBR patron today, ladies and gentlemen. I will be sure to put the link not only in the description box, but also in the pinned comment beneath. Until next time.